welcome to the Geriatric Millennials. This is Jayme.
And this is Beth.
And we are two oldish, youngish ladies.
More on the oldish side now.
Why are you saying that? That's not even true.
I mean, kind of.
I will say that, like, lately, every time I wake up, I'm in pain.
Oh, yeah.
What is up with that?
I'm shuffling now, Jayme. I get out of bed and I stand up to go to the bathroom and I'm shuffling my feet. I'm not even picking them up.
I mean,
what is happening?
I am laying in bed. I have to pee so bad, but I don't want to move because my back hurts. And I'm just, so part of it is something is wrong with my mattress.
Okay, fair.
I need to have a conversation with my brother because he has a mattress store and sells them, and that's where I got it. And I know that he's probably not going to listen to this, but I need to call him because I don't think that should have happened.
Yeah.
We have a latex mattress. It has all these layers. And so we've tried like flipping them. We've tried some. Anyways, I need to talk to him about it because I think there's something wrong. It's like sagging or something. I'm going to say that it's my bed. I'm going to say it's my bed.
And not the fact that you're mid-40s?
Combo. I'm not mid. Not yet.
I mean, hop, skip, and a jump. We're right there.
Why are you saying these things?
I'm sorry. I just am having a moment, okay? I'm feeling being 40-ish. You know, but
we're still on the low end of 40.
Yeah, but it's not, it's an adult. I'm an adult.
Okay, you sent me a TikTok recently and it was something about, what was it? It was like 2000 was like 20 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
But then it was like, actually it is
not. I sent you one that was like, it was the same difference in time between 1937 and 1980 when we were born, between 1980 and now. And like, that just seems really inappropriate. Like 1937 that's old. Like in the 80s, that was a long time ago. And now I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
We're old?
Yeah.
Like, question mark?
Yeah. No, and I feel like there was another one too about something like the 2000s. You're like, oh, that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're like, no, actually it's 20
years
ago.
That's a popular thing.
4 years ago.
When we say, oh, 10 years ago, 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 90s. No.
Like, no, that was 30 years
30
ago.
years ago. 30 plus years ago.
What the frick?
I know. It sneaks up on you. Like
30 years ago was in the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s.
I know.
I mean, I remember.
I was a tween. Like we started the 90s at 10.
Yeah.
Like,
but that was all of our teen years was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Which it's so funny to me to see like, well, we've already talked about this a little bit, but the different fashion that has like come back around. I'm still not into the low rise though. I mean, why is that? Why is that making a comeback?
It's just because people don't know better. We did the same stupid stuff, right? Like we brought things back. Our moms were probably like, why are you guys just don't know yet that's not
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
I'm trying to think what we brought back. Maybe bell bottoms. Those, remember, they would get soaked when you walked and stuff in the rain. So that's probably something. But
that's flare pants.
They're back now too. Yeah. But I don't know. I just think this whole active aging is getting to me. Like, well, I wouldn't say midlife crisis yet, but it's just like getting to me like, oh.
Well, we're also surrounded by so much advertisement that's anti-aging.
Oh, 100%.
And so, you know, it
makes it hard.
It's weird because I'm starting to question things like, am I too old for XYZ?
Mm-hmm.
But like, why am I even thinking that?
I don't know. Well, I think one of the things I'm not struggling with this because most of the time I'm not even thinking about it, but it pops up time to time is that like that whole notion of aging gracefully is hard to do when people are like getting Botox and like, you know what I mean? Like
so many
what's
people
the standard?
I know.
What's the standard for aging gracefully? Like, I don't mean you have to do it naturally either. Like I'm all for like whatever makes you feel good and makes you happy. But it's like, the expectation for a 40-year-old woman is high. You know, you look at Kim Kardashian's our age, Beyonce's our age. Those are extremes on the extreme side of wealth and privilege and, you know, access. But it's like, oh my gosh, like what? My skin is not taut. You know, like things are starting to shift, and like just I don't like it. And I think it's just that whole notion of having to come to terms with aging and what does that mean, and like embracing it. And not necessarily having role models that did that, you know, in a way like in my everyday life. Yeah. And just the language I hear about people like using about aging and, oh, you know, you're good. You still have like a bikini okay body or and it's like, oh, so I don't look like a 20-year-old with quote unquote a bikini body. I have no value. Like just all that stuff, especially that comes as women. It's just so hard. Plus it's like the other part of it is like, there's just a point where you're just like, oh, there's a lot of stuff in life I'm never going to do now.
That's kind of what I mean as far as like, am I too old for this? Or like, there's things that are just, it's too late. It's just too late.
It's too late. And it's like, there's not enough time. There's not enough time to read all the books I want to read. Like there's just not, there's not enough time before I'm going to die.
Unfortunate.
Even if I die 50 years from now, you know.
Plus all the books that are going to be written between now and those 50 years.
I know. It's just like, it's constant. And
wow. But you know, we do live in a pretty great time in the history of our world as far as like ways to read books and ways to like access things that, you know, I mean, that's pretty cool. Trying to make it positive.
I love that for you. For me, I'm still just like, oh, okay. Even if I hit my goal of 100 books a year, still not enough time. Also just like, I don't know. It's just annoying. Like I haven't hit like, okay, so I was reading this book by Molly Shannon and I can't remember what it's called. Her memoir. And she's the girl from
Hey Molly. Is it Hey Molly?
Hey Molly, yes.
Hello Molly?
Hello Molly.
What is it?
I think it's Hello Molly, like Hello Dolly. Anyway, fabulous. Loved it. And she like I used to love SNL when she was on it and did like the I'm 50 and did the kick. And my best friend and I would like say that all the time when we were like 15 inside. We're like, I'm 50. We'd hike our pants up and kicking our legs and stuff. And now like every year on birthdays, we share that meme. And I'm like, girl, we're inching closer.
Getting closer.
We're inching real close to be in that age. And anyway, but when I was listening to the book, it just like, she was like talking about her experience and like getting into the industry and getting on SNL and just her career and her life and the things she's experienced. And I was like weeping in my car because it touched me so much on like setting a goal and like reaching it and like reaching your full potential in something. Like she was the epitome of comedy. I mean, she's still amazingly funny and all of those things, but she just did so much for women in comedy and like sketch comedy and just brought so many amazing characters into this world. And then I'm like, I don't even know what I want to do with my life. Like, I don't even have a goal. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to hit the goal because I don't have a goal and I don't even know what the goal wants to be. But I feel unfulfilled in that. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to be one of those people that walks through life unfulfilled. And I'm like, and now I'm in my 40s and it just feels like things are limited. And even though I know that's not necessarily true, it feels true.
Yeah.
And then it's super annoying.
Yeah, it is. Have you seen that little, I don't know what it is, a reel or something like that, where it just is like going through all these famous highly successful people and at what age? A lot of them are older. A lot of them are older.
Yeah, but I think in my experience, what's hard for me right now is to not even have an inkling of what that will be. Like because you're like, I don't have a goal. I don't have a goal. I don't have a passion, you know. And I thought for years it was going to be like, I'm going to be the best youth minister ever and be so good. I'm going to write books and people are going to flock. And then I realized that is not what I want and not what I stand for. And especially a lot of what goes on in the youth ministry world. But it was just really hard. It's hard, and so it just feels like it all sides.
Depressing getting older.
I mean, we definitely don't celebrate age in our culture, right? Okay. Like as you get older, it's not like you're like, oh my gosh, like, this is a wise. It's like wah. You have to pasture, girl. What do you have to offer?
But you know what? I do think that in some respects, though, I think it's a mental thing of aging where you just don't care as much, which is more freeing.
Oh, absolutely.
But things hurt. Like things shouldn't, like physical things that shouldn't hurt. Like things in my body. I'm like, why? What's going on with my hip?
It's so like,
what's going on with my knees? Am I getting arthritis? Like, why do I have so much gray hair? Like, what is happening?
It's just like a quick switch gets flipped, where it's just all of a sudden like you're growing up. And you're just growing for half a second and then you start you decline.
You start to decline.
Yeah.
I remember looking in the mirror. I can't remember. I was 30 something. I remember looking in the mirror and I was like, better enjoy this while it lasts because it's all downhill from here. I mean, it's not going to get any better.
Yeah. But it does. You know what I mean? It's like but a lot of this is like lies we've been fed. But I think for me right now in life, again, I'm pre-midlife crisis. We're right on the cusp.
Yeah.
But it's just like, really reevaluating in my 40s, like, well, what do I want now? I don't care about this and this and this and this, but what do I care about and what do I want to like spend my time and energy on?
I think that's really good to do that.
Yeah, it's just not fun to do necessarily. Like you have
maybe
to
the fun comes after you figure it out.
I hope so, because it's just like it's super annoying. Like I don't know how. I remember my mom being my age, and how did she navigate this? And especially like starting to be like premenopausal. Like I don't think I'm is that what they call
perimenopause?
I don't think that's where I'm at technically yet, but it's like 2 steps away, and that just seems like a lot. Like I don't want hot flashes.
I know.
I don't want to have like erratic periods and mood swings. And I remember my mom opening up the door in the dead of winter and just standing outside because she was on fire. And I'm like, I'm already starting to get night sweats where I just will wake up sweaty. And I'm like, that has never happened before. What the hell?
Yeah.
No, thank you. And we don't even get me started. I've talked about before, the damn chin hairs. If I get one more stray hair in one more odd body part place, I'm going to be upset.
Well, I think you need to go get that sucker zapped.
I know I'm going to, but there's not just one, it's multiple. And also some of my nose hairs are turning gray. And I feel like that is really rude.
That is so rude. Also hilarious. I didn't know you were going to say that.
It was shocking when I was doing an examination of my skin and I was like plucking my eyebrows and I looked in my nose. And because I'm always making sure, because there's a point where you need to make sure you don't have nose hair growing out.
Yes,
I'm
please.
not to that place, but I look, I'm like, what is that?
Oh, I make sure of that.
Well, and I make sure of it, but it's not actually growing out yet.
Okay, yeah.
But seeing a white hair or two in there, I'm like, oh, so we're just going to age everywhere. We're just going to, okay, great. This is too much.
I know. Well, and then I'm starting to feel like I'm out of touch. Like I'm out of touch with things. Like I was telling you recently when I was having a conversation with my teenager and I could hear myself being annoying, but I couldn't help it. Like I couldn't stop because I'm just like, but I don't know how. I just am that. I just am.
I am the cringe.
I am so cringy. And I'm just like, what is my problem? Like, why, like, I mean, I used to do youth ministry too.
Yeah.
And I used to like be in with the teenagers as far as just like relationship and, being cool or whatever. And apparently I'm just like not that cool to my son. And I'm like, why not?
Right? You're like, I'm cool.
I'm like, I kind of am not,
Yeah. Well, there's that line in the sand that you get to where it's just like, you're not cool anymore. Like cool.
But I mean, I think I'm cool and I think I'm funny, but like he doesn't at all.
Yeah, but I think for every person, even celebrities, like there just comes an age where you're no longer like young and fun and cool. Like I'm not saying that you can't be a cool person after the age of 30 something. You can, but there's this thing about like youth culture where you're not in it anymore because you're not part of that culture anymore. Yeah. And when you stand adjacent to it, sometimes it can feel like, but I'm here, but it's not your time anymore. Like it's not your time to be like young and fun and
I'm
out.
not trying to hang on to like being cool, but
No.
One thing that comes to mind is this, this recent hobby that I discovered, which is dancing, right? And my husband and I are doing this together and we're taking classes and whatever, but like then there's these events and we want to go to them, but they start so late. And I just wish that wasn't the case. Yeah. I'm just like, why can we not start this at 6? Like, why can't we start this early so we can all get a good night's rest? Like, it is not as easy for me to recover, especially with all my responsibilities and stuff. And not to say that younger people don't have those, but they can bounce back so much faster. That's so much faster. I'm just like, why is it taking me so long to recover? And I think it's because I'm getting older.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And again, it just sucks. And I think a big part of, at least for me, my late 30s, and hopefully I'll be done in the next year or so, early 40s, is just embracing that in a way of like, okay, I've embraced it. I've accepted it.
Okay. But
I'm moving forward through
embracing the stage you're at now, because it's just going to continue. Like
embracing the process of aging and like not being so surprised by it anymore.
Right. But I still want to stay physically fit. Like I want to work at that. I don't want to. No. I know what you're saying. It's not that. It's not. Yeah. It's not just like
you can do all. You can be all those things and everything. But I think it's recognizing like, okay,
I have limitations.
You're going to have different limitations, even just with bandwidth, like keeping up on stuff. Like I could remember the names of everybody, all the celebrities before, all of the pop culture references. I just knew them all. And now I'm like, oh, what's that girl's name again? She's pretty popular. She has red lips. Oh yeah, Taylor Swift, and it's just because my brain, there's just not as much bandwidth.
Okay.
Anymore.
Is it that your brain doesn't have as much bandwidth, or is it that there is so much more information, so many more celebrities, so many more avenues coming at you that it's too much to contain? Because I feel like there's way more than there ever used to be, because we've got TikTok, we've got all these streaming services, we have so much content that we never had before.
I think that is part of it. But I also think too, I think back to my parents as they were getting older, and I would be like, how do you guys not know this person? How do you not do this? And it's like, what I'm realizing now is like people get stuck in their like 15, 16, 17-year-old music self.
Oh, that is so true.
You know what I mean? So there's just a point where maybe you're not, you're still, what's happening a little bit, but you're not embracing as much new anymore. And so you're just not exposed to it.
I mean, when I think back to the 90s, I mean, that's where it is at as far as music goes.
When I have like this playlist that it's just every song I love, I just throw in there and I'll listen to them on repeat. And sometimes I add something new, like something new will pop up and I'm like, oh, I love this. And I'll add it to the rotation. But so much of it is from when I was like 15 to 20.
Yeah.
And
absolutely,
it's unbelievable.
Those are my favorite rides on Peloton, are the ones that have that music. I'm like, yes, that's what I want to rock out to on this bike. And because I know the words, like there's so,
I do.
Yeah.
I think successfully aging to me is just, and I've gotten here a bunch. Like I'm not saying I'm at ground zero for this or, the first step, but I think that it's just that ability to just be like, okay with like not being in the know and not feeling that need to, no more FOMO, I guess.
Yeah. It's going to be hard for me. But I'm going to have FOMO.
But you have FOMO of actual events. I don't think I'm talking about FOMO of like not knowing like all the popular movies, not knowing all the slang. Like that thing of like when you're younger, you're trying to, like you still want to be in it, Yeah. Yeah. And now I'm just like, oh, I could care less.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't want to get to the point. So I would like to know like that. I think we're all walking this fine line, and I would like to know how to do this well, of acceptance and embracing without for example, like the physical, like pain or whatever, something like that. Like, do I just accept that, or do I, because that's just normal part of aging, or do I do things that are going to make it better or like keep me stronger and like so it doesn't get worse, or you know what I'm saying? Instead of like just like allowing things to happen naturally to an extent. And then on the other hand, I'm like, I could be lifting weights and making like my bones stronger so they don't just deteriorate and break.
I think that's fair, right? But I think on the flip side, on other places, so let's take exercise out of it. Let's talk about our faces. Once you start getting wrinkles, I mean, you can put creams on, frownies, you can do things, you can do Botox, you can take more and more steps, but there's just some of that stuff just happens, right? There's no way to stop it without like intervention. Yeah. And I look at like the diet and exercise a little bit different, because I think that that's just like, you lift weights, you keep moving your body to be healthy and all of that stuff. But even if you were lifting weights every day, if you never put cream, like your face is still going to fall. Yeah. Without some intervention. So I think it's embracing that part of it, the stuff that we can't control with aging. Yeah. Like I can't control the fact that my hair is turning gray on my head. I can cover it. I can do things, but my hair is starting to get finer. It's like, okay, I can add rosemary oil to my routine and I can do some things to help mitigate it. But there's going to be a point where it's just like, it just is what it is. And you have to just kind of like, okay, I just have to embrace the fact that like, I can't do the splits anymore, and I'm going to keep working on my flexibility. Let me say this. I can't do the splits right now. I think I'll be able to do them again. But I used to be able to not, like, I wouldn't stretch or anything for like 6-8 months and I could just jump down into the splits.
What?
Yeah, I was super flexible because, but if I did that today, you would have to take me to the emergency room because I would have ripped a hamstring. Like I would have been in trouble. Yeah. And so I think
I'm having a mental image of you doing that right now. Please don't try.
I used to do it for money too. I'd be like, can you give me $5 if I do the splits right now? And people would look at me, there's no way you can do the splits. I'm like, bam, splits.
Would you do them like side to side or like front to back?
Front to back. Like not a middle split.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I just think that like, I just want to get to that place where I'm not so surprised about the aging. And then I'm like, okay, cool. We have another brown dot on our face, like another freckle, another mole, another this. We're going to get it checked. And if it's fine, we just know it's a little age spot, you know?
Yeah.
My décollage, I noticed that there's a little bit of wrinkling now where that didn't used to be. And I would see my friends who are usually like softball moms or like, you know, baseball moms, and theirs was getting older, faster, wrinkling because of the sun. And now I'm like, I don't have that. And then I look in the mirror like, yes, you do.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just been a trip. And I don't know. we're kind of everywhere with this midlife stuff, but it's so pressing right now because it's like so, at least for me, in my face of like the reality of like, oh, I'm coming into a new season of life.
Yeah.
And what is that going to be like? Well, I can only imagine for you too, because you're going to get to a season where you no longer have little kids.
Yeah.
All your kids will be driving soon. Not soon, but within a few years,
soon.
Where it's like the level of, they still have a lot of need at that age, but it's different.
It's very different.
It's different. And so how do you deal with that? You know, like how do you get to those places where you're like, oh, my whole identity for the last however many years has been tied up with like rearing kids or being this. And now all of a sudden like, oh, that's not the reality anymore.
Yeah. The stages of life.
Yeah. I guess I just want to figure out my new reality so that I can embrace it, but I don't have it figured out yet. So it's hard to embrace.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm feeling old today. The weather's not helping. This is real old lady talk. Okay. The weather, my bones hurt because it's cold, you know, like, yeah.
I know. Bad. I am right there with you. And so I try not to think about it too much. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's really working for me or not.
It just is a trip that we're living in the year 2024. That was the future when we were growing up. That was Jetsons. And we're in our 40s. We're like our parents' age when they were raising us.
Oh, I remember when my mom was in her 40s.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I was like, they're so different. My favorite thing right now, there's this trend on social media where people are posting like, if you were born before this year, you're older than this sitcom mom you watched growing up. And it's like, I'm older than all of them now. Like,
But you don't look older than them. Let me just tell you that.
But here's the thing though, that's deceptive because you've known me for so long. I really believe that whenever you meet someone, they kind of freeze at that age in your brain a little bit. So it's like, I feel like people always look younger to me than they are, like that I've known for a long time. Cause I always see you as like,
I'm shaking my head,
but I always see you as like 22-year-old Jayme.
Okay. That's cool.
24-year-old Jayme.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I know I don't look like that anymore, but I also don't look older than
you don't look
some of those sitcom moms. I know I'm
hairstyles definitely helped.
Pretty sure.
But you don't look old, but we are. You know what I mean? Because I've seen pictures of us like as when we were babies. I'm like, we were little babies.
Yeah, that's true.
We have so much collagen. What's going on? I'm like, why didn't I enjoy my moisture barrier?
I feel like you still have a lot of collagen going on.
It's chubby. It just fills it out. Like I'm like the second I decide
you
that
have a baby face.
Yeah, I was described once as a cherub, which. They're like, oh, she's a little cherub face. I'm like, I don't feel like that's a compliment. Okay.
I think it is.
Yeah, it was by my pastor. I was like, great. Looking forward to being a cherub at 80.
Hey, if you're enjoying this podcast and would like to support our show, you can share episodes with your friends and family, follow us on Instagram at the Geriatric Millennials, or leave us a positive review and rating, all which help us to grow. Our theme music was created by the Finley Ghost, so check out their latest album now. Thank you so much.